This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FY Investment Group and your host of Washington Calling, where we interview leading voices from business and politics and arts and culture that impact you, the viewer. Today, we are fortunate to have a distinguished guest, and her name is Shovana Narayan. She's one of the India's most well-known and celebrated classical dancers, who's known across the world. She has captivated audiences through numerous dance festivals. She's a classical example of a true Kathak, multifaceted, successful, and dynamic, and presents a challenge to today's spectator. She's a role model for today's younger generations. Thank you, Shovana, for coming to our show, and welcome to our show.
Thank you very much indeed, and greetings to everyone.
Yes, indeed. Before I ask you a question, let me say something about arts and culture. Arts and culture sweet spot in our family. Debbie and I serve on many boards that caters to the performing arts. As President Kennedy once said, art nourishes the roots of our culture. It transcends our boundary. It represents the very best of our humanity. And it plays a pivotal role in educating and engaging and inspiring people. So welcome to our show. Can you please tell to our global audience your fascinating life story and journey from a bureaucrat to an ambassador's wife and now a world-renowned dancer?
Well, my whole life has been spent on going on two boats. It was always dance and academics, right since the age of 3. And that had went on. I did my physics and master's in physics. I was doing my PhD in physics. Then I entered civil service. So I was civil servant as well as a dancer. By then I had become a very well-known young dancer. Today I'm a very, very senior dancer, considering my age. And so that has been my life. And somewhere along the way, I met my dear husband, and he happens to be his country's representative, ambassador in different countries. He was a career diplomat. But of course, I never joined him. So we always had a commuting, a long distance courtship and a long distance marriage. And so that's how it is till today. I retired from government service, as we all do. In India, we reach a certain age and then we all retire. And but dance is there with me till I retire from this world. That's the time when I will retire from dance. Perhaps my Atma, my soul, will still be dancing its way wherever it goes.
Wonderful. So thank you very much.
Short.
Your work is set to be set to the music of Beethoven, Mozart, Chopin, and many others. And you have worked also with American tap dancers, as you probably know. How do you manage this synthesis of East and West in your work? That's a wonderful thing to do, to combine and embrace the two cultures.
In fact, it's not different because you see, the language of dance is the language of expression. So you are expressing whichever country we may belong to, whatever be our skin color, whatever race we may belong to, but human emotions are the same. If I look at you with love in my eyes, you'll feel it. If I look at you with anger in my eyes, you'll feel it. Similarly, rhythm. That same 1, 2, 3, but how you treat that rhythm, how you treat movements is different. So it was a fascinating journey when I was collaborating, and for all of us, it was also a very wonderful learning experience to see how there were so many similarities, yet the way you approached it, the emphasis just made it so dissimilar. The music, of course, is dissimilar, but the rhythm is the same. It's the same 7 notes, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. But the way you utilize it is completely different. We utilize it in the raga system, and Western music utilizes in the harmonic system. So there are similarities, and we found those similarities. So we worked on those similarities, and we just found that it was a beautiful bridging of emotions, of movements, of rhythm, of two people, two hearts.
Very well articulated. You found a common ground,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, absolutely. We
Uh,
found a common ground it, in the world of expression through dance.
Very
We
well said.
spoke to each other.
Very well said. As you know, we have a global crisis because of coronavirus, and we
Yeah.
have unprecedented upheaval to our daily lives that we hold dear. How do you see this affecting culture across the world in this new era of social distancing? And let me give you an example. I was talking to Goldman Sachs CEO 2 days ago, Debbie and I, and they put together art and culture, and they raised about a couple of $100,000. He gave himself about $50,000 on the virtual event, and where we have a lot of people, a lot of artists who exhibited their own talent and culture. Is that a new norm of doing business now?
You know, sure, it is the norm, which will be there now that you've been introduced to it. Even in the field of dance, it has been introduced. But let me also say, having said all this, there's so much of beauty in that physical presence, in the vibrations. It is, after all, when we're talking about art and culture, you're talking about vibrations. And so that will go on. I don't think that's going to change. So that's one part. But there is an addition, and I think we stand enriched by it, because also there another change which has come about amongst many artists is that there was a fear of the unknown. It was a new medium, of such a medium. Now that fear, I think, has is slowly vanishing, or in some it's vanished. And so you have taken to it. But this is an added medium. It is a support system. It's a beautiful system. But I don't think it'll completely replace, it'll go side by side. And
That's a
that
very
is what I feel that will go.
So what's going to happen with the big performance arts centers all over the country? Kennedy Center has a many physical space. So you don't think that's going to go away?
No, the physical, because even now, in spite of, say, the recordings of fabulous philharmonics in New York Philharmonic, etc., why do people still buy tickets to go to witness it live? Because there is a different vibration. So
Very
similarly, for all performing arts, it's a different vibration when you see it for yourself, because you're in it. It's speaking to you. Even a painting is speaking to you. Like that, it's a different feeling seeing on the screen. With that also speaks, but in a different manner. But when it's there, physically you're there, it speaks in a much more intimate manner.
very well said. You're talking about in person.
In person, it is
We,
very
we
intimate.
in
Well,
our
in
yeah, in our culture, in American culture, we hug, we embrace, and that's how we interact with the people. Social distancing is very foreign to all of us. So, do you think this crisis will give birth to a new way of doing business?
First of all, it's not social distancing, it's physical distancing.
Very well
Socially,
said.
we are all connected. We are all very well connected. Now, is it going to change the economy? I think to some extent, uh, this period is a trying period if I'm looking at it from the world of artists, because artists depend on performances, and so do many other sections of society. Vocations would depend on their vocation. So I think it's going to be a very trying period for all vocations concerned, for all sectors of economy, business, and professions, for quite some time, because it's going to take, but it'll come up slowly. It will affect livelihood. It will affect a lot of things, because the change has been too drastic all of a sudden. And so the effects will be felt for a long time. But we are all, I think mankind is absolutely I would say, has the ability to spring back into its own and find its own space, even perhaps a space where if it was earlier at this level, it might find another level,
Very well
much
said.
higher level. So,
What do you tell the audience to uplift the morale of the humanity in such a challenging and difficult time through arts? Do you look forward to the world that will raise the standards of artistic accomplishments and will enlarge the cultural opportunities for all citizens of the world?
of course, it's going to raise a lot of, it has already raised a lot of opportunities, a lot of avenues have opened up. People who were a little hesitant, first of all, did not know, were hesitant. So those opportunities have definitely opened up. And I think there will be several artists who, along with the traditional format of performances, is- are going to adopt even this as the additional format of reaching out to people and to maintain, because after all, every human being likes to connect, to communicate. So imagine when the mobiles came in, how we all connected. When the television came in, how we all connected. When video conferencing came in, how we all connected. So these are, but it doesn't say that it's going to replace the physical part of it, the physical, conversations in presence, in person to person or a perform. So yes, it's an additional, and people will they have taken to new avenues and will already keep those new avenues and move forward. Everything in life is like moving forward. It's a constant river flow, and the constant river flow, it takes the old, it takes the new, and it's flowing again. It goes flow. It is seamless flow, and they all seamlessly merge into each other in their life's pattern, daily pattern.
Very well said. So we will adapt to the new environment, correct?
Absolutely,
As we
totally,
have done in the
totally.
past,
As we
right?
have done in the past, come what may, we will adapt, and we are adapting, and we will adapt to
Very well said.
all.
You
Yeah.
always look at the brighter horizon when you endure a storm, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. No point in just sitting and mulling. There is a saying in Sanskrit that if you, the Hindus cremate the dead. So there's a saying in Sanskrit that if you're always worried between how you write, between the worry called worry and the called corpse, there's only the difference of one dot. So chitta becomes a chinta, chinta becomes a chitta. And if you, so the chitta, the fire lights the corpse, the cremates, but chinta cremates a living person.
Wow.
That means worries will, create, be your own, bring your own doomsday. So rather than worrying, yes, obstacles are there. Life would not be life if there were no challenges, no obstacles. Imagine how boring life would be. So life is there, full of challenges. We have to take those challenges with a positive mind and move forward. And people do it. Mankind has always been doing it.
Since the inception of the world, right?
The,
So yeah, go ahead.
I didn't get you. Instruction of,
No, inception.
yeah, yeah, since the inception of the world. Absolutely.
You know, you are a role model for millions of South Asian girls. For that matter, for everyone in the world, you're a role model. What advice do you give it to them if they want to follow in your footsteps and renew their commitment to the arts and culture? What is your advice to them
I,
if they want to follow in your footsteps and they're young, they're bright, they're intelligent, and they want to be like you? What advice do you give it to them?
I would say follow your heart. And when you
Follow your
follow your
heart
heart
and
and
soul,
your passion,
your
so
passion.
heart and soul, but do it with dedication. Do it with a lot of hard work. Go into the depth of what you want to do. There has to be clarity, and there are no shortcuts in life. Just no shortcuts. I think the joy in perspiration is beautiful.
Would you say to them to be the best you can be, exploit your fullest potential,
Of
And
course,
when
I
you're
would say that
successful, make other people successful as well.
success is very relative. It's
Okay.
a very relative term, but I would say you should understand your positives and negatives, use your best potential, work even on your negatives so that you convert it into a positive, and move forward. Keep moving forward. Challenges are there. Learn from every situation,
Hmm.
learn from those challenges,
Hmm.
move forward, but with not only with determination and with passion and with hard work, but also not losing sight of humanity, not losing sight of sensitivity. Because somewhere along the way, each one of us in our journey, even though we are journeying alone, yet we are affecting directly, indirectly millions of people around in one way or the other. So I think that spirit of sensitivity and concern should not get shrouded for whatever reason. So, and that should be kept, that candle should be kept alive. And as you go forward in being the best in whatever you do. And as for success, as I said, it's a very relative term. For X number of people, a person is very, very successful. For another, perhaps moderately successful, and so on. So it is, and again, material wealth, material possessions are again so relative. It comes and goes. I think what wealth we would like to have is happiness and joy within.
Very well said, and very well said.
Peace
And
and happiness.
I echo the same concerns and sentiment as you have said. So never give up. Success will teach you how to move forward, but failure will tell you how never to go backward. Correct?
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for all you do to make a profound and positive difference in people's lives. Your leadership is the key as we move forward with our life, with our story, with our journey. So thank you very much for all you're doing. And
Thank you.
we'll keep in touch.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Yes, thank you, Frank, for having me on your show. It has been wonderful meeting you and interacting with you.
thank you very, very much. This is Frank Islam wishing you a great week, and thank you for watching.